The balloon itself, there's an infographic in one of the papers that shows that it's about 2/3 of the height of the Statue of Liberty, so it's a big unit.
Yeah.
And the solar panels and guidance system and propellers that it had are about the size of 2 school buses. That's the kind of scale you look. So this isn't a little tiny balloon that was floating
little
around.
basket.
Yeah.
It's not quite.
The other ones are smaller, but this, now keep in mind, that's 60,000 feet in the air, so that's a big unit. And that's the end result of an F-22 Raptor shooting it down over the Atlantic Ocean, marking the first time since World War II that any aircraft has fired anything at anything else over the US.
Over the US.
Wow.
And that's your Top Gun bit there now.
Yeah, I love
There you
it.
go,
Yeah,
F-22
there you
Raptor.
go.
So
Raptor.
can we discuss what is going on and why this is all happening at the same time? Because presumably these countries are spying on each other all the time. We had submarines off the coast of Ireland at one stage.
Correct. Let's keep on the theme with the F-22 Raptor and go back to the U-2, which you will remember was the CIA's high-altitude spy plane, one of which was shot down, I think, in the early 60s, which caused the CIA to say, we need something even better.
Yes.
Which led to the SR-71 Blackbird, which was what the Americans used to take pictures all over Russia for several years. That was then superseded by the satellites that they now have. So basically everybody is looking at everybody else by satellite, which begs the question, if China can look at America using satellite, why are they using technology that's been knocking around for 250 years?
Yeah.
I spoke a long time ago to the man who used to run MI6. And when I spoke to him, I asked him about the murder of the 2 guys. Do you remember 2 guys came over from Russia and tried to murder somebody in Salisbury?
In Salisbury, yeah.
And they did this video where they said, we were there because we like cathedrals and we wanted to see the spire. And everyone went, really? I said, why would they do such a ridiculous excuse? And he said, the whole purpose of that is to show that you can do it. It is effectively 2 fingers to the British government to say, look at what we can do in your territory.
Yeah.
A lot of the analysts are saying the same about this. This isn't that the Chinese just want to spy. It's that they want to make a point that we can overfly your airspace and there's not a whole pile you can do it.
Well, they did do something about it and took one down. But I gather China have reported sightings of balloons of some sort as well. But I mean,
but this
is this escalating a little bit?
Yes.
Because Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State of America, he was meant to be going to Beijing. He's now cancelled that. So, I mean, is it a worrying time when you're seeing things like this happen?
Well, that's where we go back to what I was saying about the sort of semi-facetiously about the American spy program. So this is another one of those of the Americans getting very annoyed at everybody else doing the thing that they do to everybody else. So, of course, the Americans do this all of the time. All superpowers, to some extent, do it all the time if they can afford the money to do it. The big issue from an American perspective is you have the rise of China, and it is going to be a global competitor to the US, and therefore tensions are natural. Do we want this level of tension? No. It probably, to some extent, links to China's generally supportive attitude towards Russia and the NATO-Russia thing that is currently going on. But no, none of it is what you would want. It's never good to have F-22 Raptors shooting things down over the US.
No, interesting that it all happens at the same time. It's like a concerted effort. It'll be for a month and then we'll all forget about it, like the submarines that were everywhere for
we
like
have
6 months.
So. Yeah.
That will hopefully be a good thing.
And by the way, on the submarines thing, I mentioned this on my programme the weekend, but it's a stat that I discovered recently that I really liked. You know the guy who found the Titanic?
Yes.
A guy called Robert Ballard. The reason Bob Ballard found the Titanic, and this is by his own description, he wasn't looking for it. He was on a CIA mission to find 2 Russian submarines. I'm not making this up. And the CIA said to him, at the end of it, you have a day off, you can go find the Titanic if you want, because it happened to be in the same area.
He was in part of the CIA?
He was funded by the CIA. So that whole thing was to get details on how the submarines were spying on America. Now we're into balloons.
Wow.
It is. It's just a crazy
horrifying.
world. It's why they keep on making James Bonds.
Love to know the magazines you read, Anton. Honestly, where you come up with this stuff.